I'm happy to be here today at this forum on the Enhanced Code of Professional Conduct and Ethics. The Code of Ethics is one of the most important institutions of the accountancy profession and has long been a foundation of public trust in the profession, as it is with all professions that similarly hold positions of public trust and fiduciary responsibility. Even though professional ethics are fundamental to an accountant's work, it is also the most challenging foundation to inculcate and preserve within the profession. The often asked question is, how does one teach or inculcate ethics in a profession? The key challenges of professional ethics go beyond intuitive notions of right and wrong in clear-cut black and white situations, to hinge on how the profession conducts itself in situations where there are shades of grey, and on how the profession conducts itself in areas relating to public confidence and holding professional standards that may require the profession to conduct itself at a level above otherwise acceptable business conduct, and the difficulties experienced especially by new and experienced professionals alike. So it is very important that as a profession that you come together to learn and openly discuss ethically challenging situations in your environment at events such as today's forum. I commend ICPAS for organizing today's forum. I look forward to more initiatives to facilitate discussions in the future. Indeed, communication and discussion is one of the Enhanced Code's key elements. I would like to emphasize this point. The Enhanced Code requires accountants to actively identify ethical issues and to discuss these issues, for example, with clients and audit committees. This communication is crucial because, as I've mentioned, it is in the nature of ethics that there is sometimes no clear right or wrong answer that one can immediately and simply lift from the code or the legislation to apply to all situations. Thus, the process of dealing with the issue becomes all the more important. The need to consult and seek advice and communicate becomes more important. The need for the relevant parties to be aware of and to understand that ethical threats can be just as important as the final decision that the process leads to. Another important consideration is something that perhaps distinguishes the accountancy profession's ethics from those of other professions. That is, unlike other professions, an accountant's ethical duties are not just for the direct benefit of clients, but for the benefit of a wider stakeholder group. This was a view expressed by Lord Denning, perhaps the most influential judge of the 20th century, who said about the difference between lawyers and accountants. There is a great difference between the lawyer and the accountant. The lawyer is never called on to express his personal belief in the truth of his client's case, whereas the accountant, who certifies the accounts of his client, is always called upon to express his personal opinion. He is required to do this not so much for the satisfaction of his own client, but more for the guidance of shareholders, investors, revenue authorities, and others who may have to rely on the accounts in serious matters of business. Thus, the Code of Ethics, particularly as it relates to independence, aims to uphold confidence in the independence and objectivity of the accountant's work. This is what the public look for in the accountancy profession. This public interest is also why the Code defines independence as independence in fact and in appearance. As public accountants, the value and independence of your work should be beyond question. When a situation arises that could in theory impair your independence, you may feel that you can manage it. You may feel that your objectivity is safe. But this is only part of your consideration. You also have to think about upholding public confidence, not only in yourself, but in the wider profession. So when an ethical threat arises, a key question that the code requires accountants to ask themselves is, how would a reasonable and informed third party perceive the situation and the profession? The need to think about the public perception is also why